Breaking tonight, President Trump suing the Wall Street Journal over their report about a birthday letter he wrote to Jeffrey Epstein. That new legal action against the publisher, two reporters, and one of the most powerful people in media, Rupert Murdoch. It comes after a rare reversal from Trump calling for grand jury testimony from the Epstein case to be unsealed. What would that grand jury testimony reveal, if anything? Also breaking tonight, 10 Americans freed in a prisoner swap. The three-way exchange also sending hundreds of Venezuelan migrants back to their home country after they were deported from the U.S. and sent to El Salvador's notorious mega prison. The deadly explosion at an L.A. sheriff's training facility, 3 deputies killed just hours after 2 military-style explosives were brought to the center. What we know about the fatal blast. West Nile warning, new cases of the virus reported in more than a dozen states. We speak with the family of a man fighting for his life in the ICU after being bit. Surveillance video capturing the terrifying moments an escalator malfunctioned after a Beyonce concert, the scare that caused the initial stampede. The shocking move from CBS canceling The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Could this signal the end of late-night TV? Plus, the big squeezy, why the smell of fresh lemons are replacing the scent of stale beer on the streets of New Orleans. And the big potential changes coming to your 401k. Could private equity get involved, and will crypto play a role in your portfolio? Top story starts right now. And good evening. Tonight, as we're coming on the air, 2 breaking headlines involving President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. The president pulling a 180, now asking for grand jury testimony in the Epstein criminal case to be unsealed. And late today, Trump filing a lawsuit over the Wall Street Journal's reporting, tying him to the convicted sex offender. Reuters tonight reporting the president is seeking $10 billion in damages. The president suing Dow Jones, which is the parent company of the Wall Street Journal, plus its owner, Rupert Murdoch, and 2 reporters for libel, asking for $10 billion. Again, that according to Reuters. The suit coming after the paper published an article last night saying Trump sent a vulgar note to Epstein for his 50th birthday to be included in a book compiled by Ghislaine Maxwell, which Trump denies. The report cites documents the paper says it reviewed, which NBC News has not. The legal battle now a clash between 2 of the most influential conservative voices in media and politics, 2 men who were once allies on the national stage. The Journal joining a long list of media organizations sued by President Trump. Major TV networks, newspapers, national and local, even a book publisher. Vice President J.D. Vance coming to his boss's defense, appearing to claim the Journal never showed them a copy of the alleged letter and calling the story complete and utter BS. It comes as the president orders his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to ask for testimony in the Epstein case to be unsealed, grand jury testimony, whether it becomes public, now up to a federal judge. We have a lot to get to this evening. I want to start with Garrett Hake, who leads us off.
Tonight, amid the ongoing firestorm over the administration's handling of Justice Department files on notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, the president filing a libel lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal's parent company, owner Rupert Murdoch, and the reporters behind its article describing an album prepared by Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, for his 50th birthday back in 2003. According to documents the Journal says it reviewed, the album contained letters from Trump and dozens of Epstein's other friends and associates. NBC News has not independently verified the existence of the documents. The Wall Street Journal says the letter contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn, and says the text consists of an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein. The president strongly denying the report, saying, "This is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story," adding, "I don't draw pictures of women. It's not my language. It's not my words." According to the Wall Street Journal, the written dialogue of the imaginary conversation includes the lines, "Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." Vice President Vance slamming the report, posting, "Where is this letter? Would you be shocked to learn they never showed it to us before publishing it? Does anyone honestly believe this sounds like Donald Trump?" All of it after that rare reversal from President Trump. Tonight, the Department of Justice asking a federal judge to unseal grand jury testimony related to Epstein, following this overnight post from the president. Based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I've asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. By law, grand jury testimony is kept secret, with some limited exceptions. The president's sudden about-face an attempt to silence an uproar from some of his most vocal supporters who wanted all Epstein-related material to be released. The president had blasted those supporters as weaklings for falling for what he called a distraction pushed by Democrats.
The credible information's been given. It's people that are really doing the Democrats' work. They're stupid people.
And today suggesting there was no damaging information on him in the files, posting, if there was a smoking gun on Epstein, why didn't the Dems who controlled the files for 4 years use it? Because they had nothing. The controversy heated up after Bondi repeatedly teased the release of Epstein files.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
But then the DOJ and FBI releasing a memo saying they had found no incriminating client list of Epstein's and that they would make no further disclosure.
Garrett Haake joins us tonight from inside the White House there. So, Garrett, when you asked the president earlier this week, he told you he had total confidence in Attorney General Pam Bondi, and yet you have new reporting tonight that some others at the White House might feel differently?
Yeah, that does appear to still be the case, Tom. But there are some White House officials who feel like the president has been put in a position of having to clean up a mess created by the attorney general with that memo that she should have been the one to clean up, that memo created a vacuum that the president had to fill with more information, putting him front and center in this story when they would have rather it been his attorney general to do so. And on that filing, asking for those grand jury transcripts to be released, the DOJ argues that it is that enormous public interest that should be the reason that a judge rules in favor and releases those transcripts. Although, Tom, that's a decision that could take quite some time to become public.
Okay, Garrett Haake leading us off on top story. Another breaking headline we're following tonight, the Trump administration securing the freedom of 10 Americans detained unjustly in Venezuela, according to the State Department. In exchange, the U.S. sending back 250 Venezuelans that were deported to a mega prison in El Salvador. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell is following the latest developments. Kelly, just get us up to speed here. What exactly happened? And we're getting our first glimpse of the Americans that were released?
That's right, Tom. We're getting some initial photos that show these 10 Americans who are making their way home. We have one image that shows that President Trump's envoy was showing the 10 Americans who had been held by Venezuela's Maduro regime. That is an adversary of the U.S. Tonight, they have been on a series of flights making their way back to the U.S. Officials say they are being swapped, and this is a deal that involves three countries, the United States, El Salvador, and Venezuela. And the difference is that the Salvadoran President Bukele is a close ally of President Trump. He has agreed to turn over 200 alleged Venezuelan gang members who had been deported to his country by the Trump administration. That got a lot of news earlier this year. And then they were held in that notorious CICOT prison in El Salvador. Now, those individuals, 200 of them, will go back to their native land, Venezuela, and 10 Americans are the swap, and they are making their way home. It will take a little time. We don't have an exact return to the U.S., but this allows the administration to claim a win that they've been able to release wrongfully detained Americans, and they can also sort of deal with relations in Venezuela and El Salvador. Tom?
And Kelly, I hate to put you on the spot. I am seeing some notes here that Maduro has already sort of responded on this, and he sort of sent a threatening message, if you will, to Bukele. Do you, by chance, have that reporting? If not, I think I can find that note.
I have not seen that yet,
Yeah.
Tom, but that does not surprise me given the tensions in that region. The U.S. has had a very hostile relationship with Maduro. And at the same time, you could see how there would be a common interest of getting his own national citizens, Venezuelans, back in his country, and that would be a benefit to him. And for Bukele, this is, the prison has gotten a lot of attention, and there is an expectation in that prison they go in and they almost never come out. So this is a development in that way as well. And, of course, this is all connected to the Trump deportation policies.
Yeah, Maduro essentially telling Bukele migrating is not a crime and that El Salvador and him will pay for this. We'll have to wait and see. Kelly, great reporting tonight. We thank you for that. Next tonight to that tragic scene in Los Angeles, an explosion killing 3 sheriff's deputies who were part of an elite arson explosives team. The sheriff calling it the deadliest day for the department in more than 150 years. NBC's Camila Bernal has the latest on the investigation.
A deadly and devastating explosion rocking the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department.
There's definitely a black cloud hanging over the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. and our county family.
3 highly trained deputies killed after what appears to have been an accidental explosion, according to sources familiar with the investigation.
This is, unfortunately, the largest loss of life for us as the LA County Sheriff's Department since 1857.
Deputies were handling at least 2 military-grade explosives, according to those sources, saying the explosives were retrieved last night, then transferred to the Biscaluz Training Center. And at 7:30 this morning, an explosion.
We have an explosion in the training facility.
Video of the scene shows the glass of this SUV blown out, signaling the blast may have happened next to the bomb squad vehicle. The deputies killed were part of the department's elite arson explosive team.
Explosives are incredibly unforgiving, and they are always dangerous. Despite all your experience and all the precautions, if you make one little tiny mistake, there can be a tragic outcome.
Tonight, the sheriff's department and law enforcement around the country mourning the 3 deputies who served between 19 and 33 years.
It very much is a shock to me still, but some of the best deputies I've ever worked with.
It's a big loss for the department.
Absolutely.
Camila Bernal joins us tonight from Los Angeles. Camila, this is such a big investigation. We know there's multiple agencies because it's so strange what happened here.
It really is, Tom, and it's a huge investigation. In addition to the LA County Sheriff's Department, you also have state and federal agencies. That includes the FBI and the ATF. And there's so many questions for these investigators, including why those devices were moved. Normally, these devices either get sent to a remote location or they get put into an explosive containment vessel. Neither of those things happened in this case. Our sources believing that a lot of these deputies maybe did not know or did not think that these devices were dangerous and instead thought of them to be safe. That was clearly not the case. And now you have 3 families mourning the loss of these deputies and really an entire law enforcement community around the country. You see the fire trucks here behind me. They are getting ready for a procession. It is a really somber day here in Los Angeles, Tom.
Okay, Camila, we thank you. Now to that stunning announcement from late night host Stephen Colbert. CBS deciding to end The Late Show next year. The network saying the decision to cancel the top-rated show was purely financial. But it comes just days after he blasted CBS's parent company for settling a lawsuit with President Trump. Chloe Malas has a reaction coming in from his friends and competitors.
Well, I want to let you know something that I found out just last night. Next year will be our last season.
Stephen Colbert's live studio audience stunned by his bombshell announcement.
I'm not being replaced. This is all just going away.
CBS calling the decision to cancel The Late Show purely financial, adding it is not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount.
Colbert's show, which tapes here at the Ed Sullivan Theater, has been the top-rated late-night talk show for nearly a decade. The only other host, David Letterman, who made his debut in 1993.
As host, Colbert became known for his political commentary.
The New York Times says Trump's trade war could be his biggest economic gamble. But who better to gamble with our economy than a guy who somehow bankrupted his own casino? I'm kidding, obviously. It was multiple casinos.
This week, Colbert slammed CBS's decision to settle a lawsuit with Trump for $16 million over a 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris.
Now, I believe this kind of complicated financial settlement with a sitting government official has a technical name in legal circles. It's big fat bribe.
CBS's parent company is also in the midst of a multi-billion-dollar merger, which needs the administration's sign-off. President Trump posting today, "I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings." Colbert's ratings have been steadily declining. A person familiar with CBS's thinking telling CNBC that the show loses money for the network.
The advertising revenue for network late-night shows has been cut in half over the last 7 years. Younger viewers don't tune in at 11:35 like the older generation did.
Tonight, Colbert's late-night competitor Jimmy Fallon calling him one of the sharpest, funniest hosts to ever do it, adding, "I really thought I'd ride this out with him for years to come."
Tom, a lot of people are wondering, what is Stephen Colbert going to do next? Well, first of all, I can tell you I interned for him. He's a wonderful boss, and this guy always lands on his feet. But when you look at other hosts, what have they gone on to do? David Letterman, he had a show on Netflix that was very popular. You also have Conan O'Brien, who had a travel show with HBO. So Colbert could do all sorts of things, but again, that's a 200-person staff. They have to look for jobs. They have about 10 months to do so. But really the big question on everyone's mind should be, what does this mean for the future of late-night television? And should other hosts be worried? Tom?
Yeah, it's a big question. A lot of people are asking that. Chloe, thank you. And we're going to have much more on what this moment could mean later on in the broadcast. Stay tuned for that. We want to turn now to growing cases of West Nile across the country. One man in Colorado hospitalized after his family says he was bitten by a mosquito during a family barbecue. 16 states have reported cases of the virus this year alone. NBC's Priya Sridhar has the latest on efforts to contain the virus as mosquito season ramps up.
I had the citronella candles, but that wasn't enough.
Victoria Martinez's husband, James, hospitalized with a severe form of the mosquito-borne illness, West Nile virus, after the couple hosted an anniversary barbecue in their backyard.
And I thought, that's weird. He had a bunch of little bites.
His family saying he started feeling sick almost immediately and was rushed to the hospital, eventually hitting a fever of 108 degrees and requiring a breathing tube to survive. His brother not even recognizing him.
When I first came to the hospital to see him, I was like, I can't believe this is my brother.
As the summer heats up, doctors and public health officials warning conditions are ripe for mosquitoes.
We're seeing an uptick in cases in West Nile virus, including, unfortunately, related illnesses, hospitalizations, and the recent death. We've had rains that are unprecedented and a lot higher temperatures. That's like a perfect melting pot for these viruses to thrive.
There have been more than 50 reported cases of the virus this year in states across the country, according to the Centers for Disease Control and local health departments. Philadelphia announcing today it had detected mosquitoes carrying West Nile in a city park, immediately jumping into action and doubling down on mosquito spraying.
Activity will get ramped up in general. This has been the same for the past several years, because once we find that first positive case of mosquito that has West Nile virus, we know there's going to be more.
Only about 20% of people infected will experience symptoms, according to the CDC. So if you think you've been bitten by an infected mosquito, doctors say keep an eye out for these symptoms.
If you have a sudden onset of the worst headache of your life, if you have a stiff neck that is completely out of proportion to the activity you've been doing, and if you're experiencing fevers that you can't reduce with fever-reducing medication, get to a doctor as quickly as possible.
All right, scary stuff there. Priya Sridhar joins Top Story Live tonight. Is there any treatment if you or someone you love is getting bitten or gets bitten by an infected mosquito?
Yeah, Tom, that's a great question. And the answer is, unfortunately, no, there is not. But what doctors really want to emphasize, as we mentioned in the piece, is that the overwhelming majority of people who actually get West Nile virus don't even know they have it because they're asymptomatic. Only a tiny fraction, about 1%, get symptoms that are so severe, like what you saw in the piece right there. And that's because the virus actually develops into a neuroinvasive disease that can impact your brain and spinal cord and can potentially be fatal. And in those circumstances, if you do get it, doctors say you just have to let it run its course. But there are things you can do to prevent yourself from getting it in the first place. And the number one most important thing is to wear EPA-approved insect repellent, preferably ones that have the chemical DEET on the back. Doctors also say to try to avoid walking outside, walking your pets, or going on hikes at dawn or dusk. That's when mosquito activity is at its peak. They also say, and this is going to be a little bit counterintuitive, Tom, because the height of mosquito season also coincides with the hot summers, but they say if you live somewhere where you see a lot of mosquitoes, maybe wear long sleeves and long pants to try to prevent yourself from getting bitten. Stay away from standing pools of water. If you see any of those around your house, try to drain them, and also look at the screens in your windows for any holes and try to patch those up, Tom.
Okay, Priya Sridhar, a lot of tips here. We thank you for that. Still ahead tonight, the teenager who fought off an alleged kidnapper speaking out. You may remember the video showing the terrifying moments he tried to shove her into his truck, how she says she got away. You're going to hear from her tonight. Plus, new video of that scary escalator malfunction outside of a Beyonce concert in Atlanta. What set off the initial stampede? We may know tonight. And teenagers in Phoenix don't need a license to get around anymore. Waymo now allowing minors into its driverless cars. Would you let your kids kid get inside? Our Steve Patterson takes a look and talks to a family. Stay with us. We're back now with an update on a story we brought you earlier this week, the chilling kidnapping attempt caught on camera in Florida. The 18-year-old who fought him off, recounting those horrifying moments and the encounter that led up to them. Here's NBC's Jesse Kirsch.
With this young woman's screams piercing the air, investigators in St. Augustine, Florida say her alleged attacker tried pushing her into a stolen pickup truck. But surveillance video shows the teenage store employee would not go quietly. She fought back.
Just that I had to get away, and I was terrified that he was going to hurt me.
In a video released by the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office, 18-year-old Emma Marine, in her own words, now describing the traumatic June 29th ordeal.
It was just a normal day. He came in an hour and a half before the incident, and then he just used the bathroom and left.
Marine says when the man came back, he started grabbing merchandise, and then she tried to stop him from leaving.
I blocked his way, and then he said, "What are you going to do about it?" And then I sort of froze up a little bit.
According to authorities, Marine's attempted kidnapper is 31-year-old Theodore Michael Tundador, who fled and was later arrested.
Hands on your head!
He now faces multiple charges. NBC News reached out to his attorney, but has not heard back. Meanwhile, the sheriff's office is applauding Marine's response, screaming, fighting back, and getting people's attention.
I hope this can show other women and young females like myself that you can fight back and that it doesn't matter how small you are.
She's definitely a fighter. Jesse Kirsch joins us live now. Jesse, such a scary moment, but how did Emma find that courage to fight back?
Tom, she says her parents taught her growing up when you're in a situation that is dangerous like that, you fight back. Obviously, police are applauding this, saying she did the right thing by following that instinct and moving forward. As you mentioned, Tom, this is certainly a scary incident. She says she does plan to be seeking therapy down the road here. Tom.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right, Jesse Kirsch for us. We want to turn now to an announcement we've been following here at Top Story. Robo-taxi company Waymo launching teen accounts. As many of us try to decide if we would get into a driverless car, a new question for parents now: would you put your 14-year-old in one alone? Steve Patterson has this one.
Of all the ways for 14-year-old McKaylee Whitlock to hitch a ride,
hi, Waymo.
Nothing feels more natural than being driven without a driver.
I'm a competitive figure skater, and so sometimes if I need to get to an early practice or if I need to ride home from practice, I'll take a Waymo.
Their family among the first in Waymo's new Teen Accounts program. Earlier this month, Waymo, owned by Google parent company Alphabet, launched the service allowing Phoenix area teens aged 14 to 17 to catch their own rides with accounts linked to their parents.
How much value has this added to your life?
It's been a blessing. You know, I work full-time, my husband works full-time, so it gives us more flexibility.
No driver, no parent, just a teen like McKaylee on the road in an AI-powered robot.
Teens can ride 24/7 across the entire 315 square mile service area.
Is there some risk with that amount of autonomy? Like, what kind of protections are in place for teens?
I mean, teens can share their status with their parents, so there's real-time information exchange about where they are, where they're going, and there's a very specifically trained rider support team to help them if there's something that goes on in that teen ride.
Waymo already operates in 5 major markets for adults. While rare, there have been instances of the riderless cars malfunctioning, like for this man whose Waymo wouldn't let him out at the Scottsdale airport.
This car is just going in circles.
Waymo says that incident was due to a glitch fixed with a software update and bills its tech as the world's most experienced driver. Their data touts 88% fewer serious injury crashes than an average human driver.
I would rather her be in a driverless car with a better safety record than in a car with a new teen driver.
Having never tried one myself, McKaylee ordered us a ride.
It's moving. Oh my gosh. This doesn't freak you out?
No.
For McKaylee, no cause for worry, just another Wednesday.
Do you feel safer in this car than you would in a friend's car?
Yeah.
You feel safer in this car than you would in your parents' car?
Yeah.
Wow. So you really do feel like
this is the future and you're totally comfortable in it.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
The future, Waymo says, coming to more cities soon, but to McKaylee, already old news. Steve Patterson, NBC News, Phoenix.
All right, still ahead tonight, the lawmaker brawl. Video capturing the moment punches are thrown at a board meeting. Constituents running in to break it up. What exactly happened next? And a rare great white shark spotted at a popular beach destination. We'll tell you where these bad boys were seen. But first, top stories, top moment, and this one comes with a warning. If you're watching this with a little one who still looks for money under the pillow, you know what we're talking about, you might want to cover their ears because tonight we're talking about one dentist with a magical side hustle. Dr. Purva Merchant started an email account 20 years ago that was designed to keep dental school applications organized, but that email resembled what could be contact information for the tooth fairy. Dr. Merchant embraced the new responsibility and has been responding to thousands of kids with gap-toothed grins. Here are just some of the notes she has received. Take a listen.
Dear Tooth Fairy, can I borrow my tooth back for one day? I want to show it to my friends. Please. Thank you once again. From Caroline, I am so sorry I swallowed my tooth. And I love you. If I see you in person, I will believe you. If I don't, that means you are not real. I promise I will not tell anyone I saw you. I never break my promise.
And every note is returned with a short message and her signature sign off. Don't forget to brush and floss. Happy growing up. Love the Tooth Fairy. Love that. Okay, stay with us. We are back in a moment. We're back now with Top Stories news feed. Charges are now filed against a teen in the murder of a paddleboarder in Maine this month. 17-year-old Devin Young of Franklin, Maine, appearing in court today on charges he killed 48-year-old paddleboarder Sunshine Stewart. Police say her cause of death was strangulation and blunt force trauma. The teen was arrested without incident on Wednesday night. Investigators say he was at the pond while on vacation with his family. An update on the chaos after a Beyonce concert we told you about earlier in the week. New surveillance video shows crowds pouring into an Atlanta train station. The extra weight from the crowds causing the escalator to malfunction, forcing people into a pileup below. It happened after a 10-year-old girl outside screamed after seeing a bug, sending crowds scattering, leading to a stampede. 9 people were hurt in that incident. And wild video out of North Carolina showing 2 county commissioners brawling during a board meeting. Look at this. Officials from Caldwell County releasing footage showing one of the elected officials shoving another to the ground. Other commissioners, constituents, and security officers could be seen trying to break the fight up. It's not clear what started the fight, but both officials have since apologized. A lobsterman capturing a rare encounter with multiple great white sharks. Here's what he saw. He was hauling traps in Harpswell, Maine, Wednesday when he noticed several fins, oh yeah, just yards away from his boat. He quickly realized it was a group of great whites, capturing the moment on video, then reporting the sightings to state officials. This took place close to where Maine's only deadly shark attack happened 5 years ago, prompting the community to issue a new shark warning. Yeah, I would too. Okay, moving on to money talks. President Trump today signing the landmark Genius Act into law. It's the first major piece of crypto legislation in U.S. history. The bill boosting crypto further into the mainstream, now offering a regulatory framework for a so-called stable coin in the economy. This as the Trump administration prepares to potentially sign another groundbreaking executive order, paving the way for 401k retirement saving plans to invest in private assets. We're going to explain all this. So what could these changes mean for you and your money? Our senior business correspondent, good friend to Top Story, Christine Romans, is here to break it down for us. So, Christine, I want to start with the Genius Act.
Sure.
What is the stable coin?
So it's a landmark regulation that kind of gives a regulatory framework around the stablecoin. What is stablecoin? It's something that is pegged to either the U.S. dollar, backed by U.S. Treasuries. So
a new type of cryptocurrency?
It's a small corner of cryptocurrency. It is about $300 billion. So it's a small cousin to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the one y'all hear about that can go up and down for sometimes no reason. Stablecoin is stable. Okay. So it's supposed to be a stable store of value. And
almost like a treasury note, kind
of? Yeah. And this is the Treasury Secretary just got a note from the Treasury Department just a few minutes ago saying this could actually drive demand for U.S. Treasuries because you need to back this sort of with reserve treasuries. So again, this is something that brings what was a fringe part of the financial landscape, crypto, into the mainstream.
Okay, and then we've been hearing so much about private equity, right?
Yeah.
And people who can invest in private equity, usually on the upper end of the economic spectrum, right?
Upper
end, I should say. So now the president wants private equity to be an option for 401ks. Explain that.
He wants to open up this $14 trillion market to the big private equity managers. Right now, they have endowments, they have ultra high net worth individuals, they have some pension funds.
Index funds, public stocks, all that.
They want these big private equity guys and women, but mostly guys, want access to that $14 trillion 401k market. Now, here's the interesting thing. These private equity investments can be very high risk, very high reward. The president thinks Americans should have access to that part of the market. A lot of certified financial planners I've been talking to are still very cautious because they think most Main Street investors need low-cost fee, funds. They don't need drama.
So wait, to understand this, basically in your 401k, you'd have an option to invest in a private equity fund.
Yes, exactly, in private equity investments. And look, some people say, look, we want to be able to
tap into whatever's out there.
If the rich guys are doing this, we should be able to do it too. Thing is, you don't have as much money as the rich guys. And if you can't afford to lose it, you shouldn't be putting it in a retirement.
401ks have been around for a while now, decades, right? They've done very well for a lot of people. But now we're hearing about crypto and private equity coming into 401ks as well. Why the change now? Is it time?
It's the president. The president has close allies and supporters who are really bullish on crypto and on these big private equity funds. He's been backed by some of these people. The president himself, by the way, and makes money on crypto. His three sons co-founded the World a crypto platform. The president himself made $57 million last year from that platform, among other things. So the president bullish on crypto personally and wants to do it for the country.
Christine Romans, thanks for explaining that one. We
welcome.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, to New Orleans now, and the fragrance that's taking over the French Quarter. I know this sounds strange. If you've been to the Big Easy lately, you may have noticed the smell of stale beer has been replaced with something much more pleasant. NBC's George Solis following the scent on this one.
Something smells in New Orleans' iconic French Quarter. People can't seem to get enough of it.
This is the best it's looked in years.
It's a great thing to smell every morning.
A fresh, and dare I say freshly squeezed departure from what streets like Bourbon were previously known for.
Beer, urine, funky. It was stinking, bro.
And that's where lemons come in. This story is all about making lemonade, sort of. It's the scent that for months has been permeating the air and bringing a new zest to the famous neighborhood, courtesy of large tankers and pressure washers literally delivering a lemon fresh scent to streets and sidewalks. Do you like that lemon fresh scent?
I do. It's better than pee.
The brains behind these lemon-scented lanes is Sidney Torres and his company, IV Waste.
Every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, we're spraying in the French Quarter, cleaning it, and making sure that it's kept clean.
Torres says his patented super fresh scent is more than just about smell. It disinfects too.
We couldn't go with a strawberry. We're in the South. We had to use lemon, so we went with lemon. And it smells good, it's fresh, and it's clean.
There's nothing like a lemon fresh scent.
But it could be short-lived. The city is now in debate whether to keep Torres' company around or go back to doing business with the previous vendor. Some residents sour about the potential change that could take place by the end of the month.
It's the best company we've ever had cleaning the French Quarter.
I guess you take lemon, then you make lemonade, or you take lemon and you make lemon fresh streets.
George Solis, NBC News, New Orleans.
All right, we thank George for that. Moving overseas with Top Stories Global Watch, wildfires continue to rip across parts of Spain, leading to evacuations near Madrid. Fires scorched at least 6,000 acres in central Spain's Toledo region. Video shows first responders checking homes, making sure people followed evacuation orders. Strong winds also fanning thick plumes of smoke towards the capital city. The latest fires come just over a week since thousands of acres burned in Catalonia. North Korea officially banning tourists from its brand new beach resort. Kim Jong-un unveiled the massive project in the southern part of the isolated country, claiming it as one of the greatest successes of the year. Speculation circulating that the resort was quickly shut to outside visitors after a small amount of Russians visited the site last week, and a Russian report questioned whether North Korean visitors were real tourists or, quote, mobilized by authorities. And rap and hip-hop icon Snoop Dogg expanding his empire to football, or soccer for those of us in the States. The music mogul is now the proud co-owner of Welsh football club Swansea City. I hope I pronounced that right to those fans out there. The star touting his love for the game in an announcement, saying the move, quote, feels special to me, and that the club is an underdog that bites back. He's hoping that club will benefit from the beloved musician's massive social following. I'm sure it will. When we come back, called out by Coldplay, I'm sure you have seen this somewhere on one of your social media platforms. They thought it was a private moment, but now it's been seen around the world. The investigation now launched by the company linked to that company. Stay with us. Byron, the married chief executive of Astronomer, a software development company. NBC has not confirmed his identity. The clip posted across multiple platforms has been viewed millions of times on so many platforms. We can't stress that enough. The company naming Byron in a statement today addressing the controversy, saying Astronomer is committed to the values and culture that have guided us since our founding. The board of directors has initiated a formal investigation into this matter, and we will have additional details to share very shortly. We have reached out to Byron for comment and have not heard back. Now, with more on that major entertainment news we shared with you earlier in the broadcast, Stephen Colbert announcing CBS will end The Late Show on CBS next year. Colbert's departure as the top host in the time slot begs the question, what's next for late night? Joining us now is Ralphie Aversa, host and producer of USA Today's Entertain This and a friend to Top Story. Ralphie, great to see you. Great to have you on this. Here's the big question. What does this mean for late night?
Well, I think it confirms what we've thought for a while, which is this model of late night television where you have a host who's making a lot of money and a show that costs a lot of money. If it isn't supported with the proper amount of advertisers, regardless of the ratings, it's not going to work. And so I think that's what we saw here. I'm going to invoke a quote from the great Steven Van Zandt. Okay. He told Rolling Stone once, "Nothing is inevitable." And funny enough, he followed that up with something about the Beatles. Like, it wasn't just inevitable that the Beatles were going to meet and they were going to go on to make history. Funny that we talk about that now with the Ed Sullivan Theater going back to '64 and the British invasion. But nonetheless, it's not even if you're number one in your time slot, if you don't have the financial support, which is what CBS said in their statement, the show might not go on.
You tied that up nicely. I wasn't sure where you were going, but that was perfect. I like how you brought it all home. I do want to ask you what's happened here. Is it the phone? Is it people on their phones? Because, I mean, I grew up watching Letterman and Conan O'Brien and Jay Leno, of course, and it was must-see TV. But is it still?
Well, I don't think it's just the phone. I think going back to the money and the advertisers, it's how do you monetize the phone? Like, if Colbert does a segment and it goes viral, how does CBS, how does Paramount, how do they make money off of that?
But my question, my bigger question is it because people just aren't watching it at night? Have people moved away from that? You know,
a little
I'm
bit,
older,
yes.
I've got younger kids. I don't go to bed that late. It would crush me if I did. But when I was younger, I would love watching it. I'm just wondering if people are still tuning in.
I have heard from publicists on background that they do not get the same type of impact that they used to with late night television placements. They weren't talking about Colbert specifically.
Because Colbert was number one. I mean,
Correct.
he's number one, right?
Correct.
Across the board,
yes.
number one.
Right. He was number one for this year, and of course, he's been number one for a while now as well. So why would a network simply want to give that away? Well, if we believe Paramount in their statement, it's over money.
So they say it's over money. A lot of people are asking questions because Colbert went after Paramount pretty hard when they settled with President Trump over the 60 Minutes lawsuit. Had a lot of jokes, took a lot of really, really hard blows against them. Do you think that had anything to do with it? Is there any reporting to point that way?
Well, there's no reporting out of Paramount, at least, any sourcing there that suggests that people inside Paramount were politically motivated in this move. However, we've learned today that the Writers Guild of America has issued a statement really criticizing this move and calling on authorities in New York and Los Angeles to investigate it.
All right, Ralphie Aversa, great to have you. Stephen Colbert, such a talented guy. I'm sure he'll do something else really great after that. That does it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching Top Story. I'm Tom Llamas in New York. Stay right there. More news on the way. We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.